All right, team. Hey, what's up? My name is Mitchell Black, and today I'm going to talk to you about how to read a food label, man. Very interesting topic. Very pumped up to talk to you about it. And we're going to be going in detail on this topic today. But then I also want to let you know that next Friday, January 20th at 12 o'clock, I'm going to be doing a free webinar. And that webinar is going to be about finding your body type. Your body has three different types of body types to it. It has three different types of muscle fibers, and then every human is one of three different body types primarily. And what we're going to be talking about is how to identify that body type. We're going to be talking about how to strategize with that body type, and I'm going to give you supplementation, nutrition, and lifestyle goals on how, or strategies on how to reach your goals based on your body type. Super interesting, super effective. I'm going to send you a free workbook with this webinar as well, and all you got to do is click the link in this description, click the link below, fill it out, and I'm going to send you the free workbook before the webinar, and I'll get you all set up for it. Right? I'm going to scoot this a little closer so you can see my super fancy food label that I have up here. But look, so I got some notes over here and some things that I want to talk to you guys about, but you have all done this. You have all taken your food, flipped it over, and seen like this food label. And maybe you glanced at part of it, like how many calories were in it or something, but you didn't glance at all of it, or maybe you didn't even know what it meant, or you're told to pay attention to it or not to pay attention to it. Basically, we have all this information, and you want to take all this information and you want to dissect it as easily as possible. You don't want it to be challenging for you. Like, how hard is it for you to turn on your blinker, right? How hard is it for you to drive your car? How hard is it for you to do most of your daily tasks? Nutrition and health shouldn't be that complicated. I know that was a big thing for me. See, when I was 13, I weigh less now than when I was 13. When I was 5'5", when I was 13, I was 5'5" and 200 pounds. And I was miserable, man. And part of that was that I didn't have any education. I didn't have any education or any information. I was kind of thrown this food label. Nobody really showed me what to do with it. I was given some pyramid in school and said, follow this. And I was like, dude, I'm following it. And I'm still 65 pounds overweight. And that's how from 13 to 14 years old, I was able to lose 60 pounds because I was able to start dissecting it and saying, well, this isn't working. What makes me fat? How do I just stop the thing that's making me fat, right? Like breaking this stuff down. And basically, you're given this food label. And I have a very arbitrary drawing here, but you're given this food label. And you're kind of like expected to know what to do with it. Or maybe the food pyramid works, maybe it doesn't, I don't think it does. But it's like, what do you do with this, right? So the first thing you want to do is, why do you need to know what this is? Why do you need to know how a food label works? And if you're at your house, if you're munching on a protein bar or something right now, or even a bag of Fritos, flip that thing over and just follow this video along and look at the food label. And maybe that'll make more sense to you as I go through it. Read the food label, and I'll kind of give you some ideas here. But, the reason that you want to know how to use a food label is really simple. Number one is, I get this from clients all the time. I get clients that come in and they'll say, hey, when I eat really well. I hear that sentence all the time. When I eat really well. And that might be true, because I would be willing to bet that you're not associating McDonald's with making you thin. I would be willing to bet that you've never thought that pizza was the key to a six-pack. Like, most people know that, ice cream and stuff isn't going to make them thin. That's not really the problem. So they're eating chicken, they're eating fish, they eat a salad every now and then, they try to be health conscious, but they don't understand this. So when they don't understand this, they don't understand volume, and they don't understand percentages, they don't understand how much carbs, fat, and protein, whatever, is making them overweight. So the first thing you have to do is break this down. And you could be overweight, or you could say, hey, I don't look any different. I'm not gaining muscle, I'm not getting leaner, I'm not weighing what I want to weigh. Okay, well, you want to break down this food label first. It also brings a level of awareness. There's a lot of good research that shows that if you can just write down what you eat every day, you'll be more successful, because it makes you aware at how much you're eating, processed foods or volumes or not eating. Did you know that most people undereat? 94% of people do not eat enough. I do not meet with people that are struggling to lose weight because they're just going to Golden Corral 4 times a day. That never happens. I meet with people that are going, I'm 900 miles an hour. I can't do this. The kids' baseball game, whatever. And they're really busy. So they don't get to eat enough. And that level of awareness is what's going to get why reading a food label is super effective. And then number 3 is understanding macro and micronutrient levels. So I am trying to share this. See if I can get a little fancy here. But the macro and micronutrient levels. So your macronutrients are carbs, fat, and protein. And your micronutrients are vitamins and minerals. And let's see. Yeah. All right, so your macronutrients are carbs, fat, and protein. Your micronutrients are vitamins and minerals. And if you can understand your macronutrients like carbs, fat, and protein, you can fuel your body a lot better. So there's only 4 things that have calories, and those 4 things are carbs, fat, protein, and alcohol. And since we don't want to live on alcohol, that only leaves carbs, fat, and protein left over. So when you look at a food label, when you know what a food label is made up of and the story that it's telling you, then you can start to see, is this appropriate? Now that I have some education, now that I have some awareness, is this appropriate? Going back to what I said earlier, I weigh less now than when I was 13. When I was 13, I was 5'5", I was 200 pounds, and I didn't know anything. I was very motivated. I did not want to weigh 200 pounds. I did not want to be the fat friend. I did not want to get my husky jeans from Macy's to try to fit. I didn't want to go to the big and tall store. I didn't want any of that. Believe me, I was like, please, how do I weigh less? But nobody could direct me on that. I didn't know what to do. I was given this food label, and people will say things to me like, eat your protein, eat peanut butter. Not realizing, bro, that there's 9 grams of protein in peanut butter and there is 18 grams of fat. It is not a protein source, it is a fat source that has protein in it. When you start understanding a food label, you start thinking like that for a minute, you can start answering some questions for you, right? You can start trying to figure this thing out. So if I go beyond that, when I start thinking about it, how do I read the food label? Okay, there's a couple things you want to pay attention to. Number 1 is you want to see calories and serving size. That's going to be listed up top. Serving size, and then servings and serving size. Now let's start there. How many servings and serving size is totally different. So you want to pay attention to that because this is tricky. This is this, meaning how many calories is reflective of how big the serving size is. So I'll give you an example. If you flip, let's use crackers. You take a pack of crackers, you flip it over, and it says it is 100 calories. No, it is very dangerous. No, it is not 100 calories. It is 100 calories for 10 crackers, and there are 10 servings in the package, meaning there's 100 crackers, right? It's like Oreos. There's 150 calories for 2 Oreos. There's 26 servings in a package. The problem is nobody eats 2 Oreos, right? You eat a whole sleeve of Oreos. So you have to be aware of what the serving size is. I heard this really funny joke. It said, hey, if I go by the serving size, it looks like I'm a family of 4. Yeah, that's right. You can't eat just a big old Costco bag of popcorn and it says it's this many calories. The calories are reflective of the serving size and serving. So the first thing you need to do is look at the serving size, because you need to say, okay, is it worth it really? It's 500 calories. Okay, all right. Is it 500 calories for like this? Like you having like a little teeny tiny piece of cake? Or is it 500 calories for a feast, right? So what are the calories made up of? How much volume can I get for those calories, right? So that's the first thing you want to do. How big is my serving size? I need some awareness around that, like I talked about. You want awareness with your food labels. Then you got your calories, and then you have your macros. So like I said, your macros are carbs, fat, and protein. And now we have our screen up. You can comment anything you want below, and I'll answer it. So comment if you got a question on carbs, fat, protein, whatever, and I'll gladly answer it the best I can. But macros, carbs, fat, and protein. You're going to see 2 things here when you're looking at your food label. you're going to see the amount and you're going to see percentage. Now, before you even get to this, the reason all this is important is because it should allow you to be eating to your goals. Now, what in the world does that mean? You need to know how much you want to eat first. Are you trying to eat 2,000 calories a day? Are you on a macronutrient-based diet, meaning like a certain percentage of carbs, fat, and protein? Like, what are you doing with it? Because then you can use that information to get there. Now, if you want to know what to do with it, shoot me a DM. I'll hook you up with one of my nutrition coaches, and they'll get you set on what to do. But your carbs, fat, and protein, the macronutrients. These two pieces here. Number one, it's going to tell you grams. The second thing is going to tell you percentage. Okay. There are calories in grams. All right. So there are, maybe you write this down, but 9 calories in a gram of fat, 4 calories in a gram of protein, and 4 calories in a gram of carbs. So what that means is that these calories are here. So if I look at something and it's 100 calories and it has 10 grams of fat, since there's 9 calories in a gram of fat, that would mean that 90 of the 100 calories are fat. Now, it's typically not coming from fat. You're typically getting your calories from carbohydrates. That's what typically happens. Like, oh, it's only 200 calories. This can be a dangerous game. It's only 200 calories. It's 100. Did you know a 100 calorie snack pack is 25 grams of carbs, which means that 100% of the calories are coming from carbohydrates? Like, you have to look at where the calories are coming from. That's the important thing here. So the calories come from macros, meaning carbs, fat, and protein, and then those calories, those grams attribute to the calories. You see how that works? So I'll give you an example. Let's say that something had 10 grams of fat, it had 20 grams of carbs, and it had 30 grams of protein. There are 9 calories in a gram of fat, so that would be 90. There are 4 calories in a gram of carbs, so that would be 80. And there are 4 calories in a gram of protein, so that's 120. So 120 plus 80 plus 90 is 290. That's how many calories would be in whatever you're eating. So you see how that works? They just kind of flip it upside down. It would look like this would be up here. And that's just what that means. So you want to understand, like, how many grams of fat are you trying to eat a day? How many grams of protein are you trying to eat a day? Well, at Strong Side, we're going to tell you that you should be eating half your body weight in grams of protein every day at minimum. That's one of our 5 minimums or our 5 baselines, and that's what you should be doing. Well, you need to make sure that the calories are coming from protein and those grams, right? So that's how that works. Then the percentage, or the recommended daily allowance, or RDA, that's based on 2,000 calories, all right? And that's just a general amount that the FDA gives everybody, all right? Meaning that they're going to say 10% fat, 20%, whatever. That's assuming that you are eating 2,000 calories a day. If you're eating more than that, then that percentage won't work. If you're eating less than that, then that percentage won't work. It's not the percentage that you need. It's a percentage of 2,000 calories, and assuming that you ate 5 times a day, right? This bottom part is going to do the exact same thing on the food label. So remember, if you have a food label, you flip that thing over, just follow along with it. It's going to tell you the exact same thing. It's going to be broken into vitamin amount and percentages. So it's got vitamin D in it, 10 IUs, and that's 20% of your RDA. That's just what that means. 20% of what an average person would need. Not an active person, not a person that has a deficiency, just regular, right? So you have your food label. Now your food label is broken into 2 parts. You have your nutrient part, and then you have your ingredient part down here. All right, so your ingredients. I'm going to get to that in a second. But this is all your nutrition. The bottom, the ingredients are what make you healthy. The top is what makes you thin. You can be very thin and very unhealthy, and you want to battle both, right? You want to be lean, you want to be fit, you want to be healthy. So up here, look at your serving size. Look at your how many servings are in the package. Like, for example, here's a little cost trick. If you look at like Kashi cereal, for example, or any cereal really, if you had one bowl of cereal to the serving size every day, that bowl of cereal should last you 2 weeks. But it doesn't last 2 weeks, that's like 2 days, right? Because the serving size is not how much you can fit in the bowl. If you look at peanut butter, for example, bro, dude, take peanut butter. A serving of peanut butter is 2 tablespoons, which means you take a tablespoon and you wipe off the top of it, and whatever is left in that little part of the spoon, that's a tablespoon. 2 tablespoons, that's what this is, right? And that little trick helped me a lot. You know, I keep talking about when I was 13. When I was 13, I was 5'5", I was 200 pounds, miserable, right? First thing I started doing was I joined Weight Watchers. And Weight Watchers just made me aware. It made me aware of these food labels. And it made me aware of these numbers. So what I did is I started putting mayonnaise on one side of my sandwich, because I was putting mayonnaise on both sides of my sandwich. And my calorie number, what I was budgeted in a day, like points and stuff, I couldn't afford mayonnaise on both sides. I can only do one. And just that little change, and just that little like, oh man, you know, okay, I can't do this. This isn't helping me reach my goal, actually is what started the path to helping me lose that 60 pounds from 13 to 14 years old. So the food label helps build that awareness as long as you know what you're looking at. Now, the bottom part, the ingredient part. Here's what I would tell you with the ingredients, okay? The big thing you're fighting here is bioavailability. So bioavailability. What that means is how much your body can actually absorb of the nutrient. So how much of it is available to be absorbed. Just because you eat something doesn't mean that your body's going to use it. Just because you take in that much vitamin does not mean that your body's going to use it. The higher quality of the product, the more it actually gets absorbed. So how do you know if what your body is going to take in, it can actually absorb? Okay, here's the first thing you need to do. I would recommend that your food has less than 10 ingredients. Less than 10 ingredients. If your food has more than 10 ingredients, then you're more than likely eating a bunch of processed junk, and you don't want to do that. You want food with less ingredients. The less ingredients, the higher the likelihood, the more natural it is, the better for you it is. It is way more effective on your body, all right? And you're going to absorb more of it. Now, the number 2 thing that you want to do is you need to be able to announce it. If you can announce the word, then it's probably a good ingredient for you. If you're looking at your food label right now and there is just line after line of ingredients with all these crazy words that you can't read, you don't got to be a scientist to know that that's probably not good for you. The less ingredients, the better, and the more of them that you can read, the better. All right? So, reading a food label, you're going to go there. And, yeah. That's kind of the overall goal of the food label. So here's the deal. Here's what you do, and here's how you take that information. So the first thing you need to do is figure out how much you want to eat. So whether you meet with one of our nutrition coaches, whether you have your own game plan, your own macro plan, whether you're doing like a healthy living plan, maintenance plan, whatever, you got to know that information. Because then when you know that information, then you can make a decision with that information. If you don't have that information, then every time you look at a food label, it's going to seem like, oh, too many calories, too much fat, not enough protein. Like, what? You don't even know what you're trying to get out of it. So the first thing you have to do is, how much should I eat? Okay. Then when you know that, you look at the food label. Okay, I'm going to buy a food. And then I need to say, well, when I eat, I would like to eat enough to make me feel full, right? So I need to make sure that what I'm eating isn't necessarily like macro or calorie dense. It's going to afford me, you know, that I can eat this, this, and this, and this, because nobody wants 2 bites of their food and then be done, right? That's going to come from up here. How many servings, am I serving size, and my calories? Where do the calories come from? You got to look at the fat, carbs, and protein breakdown of the food label, and then you'll see that calories come from macros. So those macronutrients are actually what the calories are made up of. Like I did that little equation over here, or call it equation, call it adding, whatever. But if I had 10 grams of fat, 20 grams of carbs, 30 grams of protein, it would be 290 calories, right? What do the calories actually come from? And then look at that RDA. The RDA is based on 2,000 calories. It doesn't mean it's not going to work for you. I'm just letting you know that it's based off 2,000 calories. And then the ingredient list down here, what does that mean? All right, well, it means that the less ingredients, the better. And if you can pronounce it, you're probably going to be better off. So, look, it's all about just making a better choice, all right? And the first thing you have to do is know your body. And that's what I'm going to be doing in this webinar. So, next Friday, January 20th, I'm going to be doing a webinar at noon. It's totally free, totally private. I'm going to be sending you a free workbook with this webinar. All you got to do is click the video below or click the link below and sign up for it. And we will get you all set for this webinar. But I want you to start thinking, as 2023 is rolling on, as you're trying to figure out how to get healthy, how to create wellness in your life, what am I supposed to do with the food label? Like, don't just be like, okay, or this many calories. Calories do not tell the whole story. Calories are an indicator to the macros. And then these macros tell the story to your calories. All right, so if you got any questions, hit me up, connect with our team. I'm excited to see you guys in here clanging barbells all day. Let's do some power cleans. And happy Monday, my friends.